Hi, welcome to Story Time with Miss Jolene. I wanted to tell you about some of the books that I really love because they tell true stories, but in ways that children can understand. And so today we are going to be looking at If You Spent a Day with Thoreau at Walden Pond. And so this book is by Robert Burleigh, and the illustrations are actually done in paintings by Wendell Minor. So this book not only tells a little bit about history and Henry Thoreau, but it also is really good for vocabulary and for teaching about the natural world. So anyone who is kind of a naturalist wants their child to learn about the outdoors. This one is really nice also. And it's got a little map here in the front. So here's Walden Pond and the house, and then some of the other things that are mentioned in the book. If you spent a day with Thoreau at Walden Pond. Here we go. If you spent a day with Henry David Thoreau, you would need to get there early because Henry wakes up with the sun. If you spent a day with Henry David Thoreau, you would knock on the door of Henry's tiny house on the shore of Walden Pond. Hello, Henry. You would look inside and see nothing but 3 chairs, a table, a desk, and an old bed. Yet Henry has just what he needs. If you spend a day with Henry David Thoreau, you would sit on the soft pine needles behind the house and drink cold, fresh Walden water. Living a simple life is the best way to be happy, says Henry. You would row out onto the pond, gaze down deep, and glimpse a beautiful gold and emerald fish. Swish, it's gone. You would help Henry weed his bean patch. I like to make the earth say beans instead of grass, Henry says with a grin. If you spent a day with Henry David Thoreau, you would head down paths that wind back and forth through leafy woods. But Henry knows the way. You would sometimes stop and listen. Shh, Henry says, holding a finger to his lips. That's a robin calling to his friends. And that gentle song is the coo of a morning dove. And there's the screech of an angry jay. If you spend a day with Henry David Thoreau, you would wade in sandy pond and let the cool water lap against your feet and feel the sun on the back of your neck. You would point to a hawk high above, soaring and tumbling over and over. So wild and free, says Henry, and he writes it down in his notebook too. Actually, that helps a little. If you spent a day with Henry David Thoreau, you would hike past Fair Haven Hill, where the huckleberries grow. Pick the ripest ones and nibble them as you roamed. Yum. You would spy from your hiding place a mother partridge shooing her chicks under dry leaves. See them? Look at their tiny brown eyes staring out. If you spent a day with Henry David Thoreau, you would climb a farmer's fence, shortcut across the pasture, and call out to the cows. You would rest on grass, lean back and hear the leaves murmur, and feel the soft breeze against your face. Henry calls it dreaming awake. If you spent the day with Henry, you would share a loaf of his homemade bread. After lunch, you would feed bits of cheese to a tiny mouse and laugh as its whiskers tickled your hand. You would follow a fox across the meadow, running far behind it, losing the track, but finding it again and again. "Be quick," says Henry. You would lie on the ground, staring down, watching an ant war, red versus black. To Henry, little things matter as much as big things. If you spend a day with Henry David Thoreau, you would relax together watching. Late afternoon clouds seem to float on Walden Pond. "Ah," says Henry, smiling. "From here the pond is like a wide open eye, staring up at the sky." If you spent a day with Henry David Thoreau, when you left, you would glance back in the gathering dusk and wave. You would see Henry writing in his journal by the light of his kerosene lamp. He would look up and call, "Remember, have an adventure every day." "Goodbye, Henry, and thanks," you would call back with a happy smile if you spent a day with Henry David Thoreau. And then at the end of the book, there's some information about Henry David Thoreau and more things to know about him. And then there are some observations in the back, some little things that he had written in his journals. So that is the book, If You Spent a Day with Thoreau at Walden Pond. I hope you had enjoyed it and look it up for yourself.